Have you ever stopped dead in your tracks, breathless faced with a coincidence so perfect, so improbable, so intimately linked to your most secret thoughts that it seemed to defy all laws of probability, as if the universe itself were giving you a personal wink? That book falling from a shelf, opening precisely to the page holding the answer to a question that has haunted you for weeks. That stranger crossed digital, a street corner, humming that forgotten melody, the very one that connected you to a precious memory you were trying to revive. Or that name, that image, that symbol that pursues you, appearing repeatedly in different contexts, on a billboard, in an unexpected conversation, at the heart of a dream, like an insistent echo, a leitmotif orchestrated by an invisible hand. We've all at one time or another experienced these moments of pure astonishment, these instants where the veil of ordinary reality so dense and predictable seems to tear for a moment, allowing a glimpse of a more subtle fabric, a hidden intelligence at work behind the world's curtain. What if these occurrences weren't the absurd and meaningless fruit of chance? What if these synchronicities, as the great Swiss physician and psychologist Carl Gustav Jung so intuitively named them, were much more than simple, fortuitous coincidences, but portals to a vaster understanding of yourself and of life? Carl Jung, that tireless explorer of the human psyche's abysses, that archaeologist of the soul, offered us a key of inestimable value to understand these phenomena, the concept of synchronicity. This isn't about the simple linear chain of cause and effect that governs our material world. A cause is B, which causes C. No, Jung speaks of a causal connecting principle, a significant meaning-laden link between our inner universe, our thoughts, emotions, complexes, activated archetypes, and the objective events of the outer world. A revolutionary perspective that, far from locking us into passive fatalism, invites us, with a wisdom reminiscent of Stoic philosophers, to observe with renewed acuity what presents itself to us, and above all, to recognize and understand our subtle yet powerful role in this mysterious dance between the within and the without. So, prepare yourself. Open your mind and heart, because together we are going to dive into this fascinating exploration. Discover how these supposed chances are in reality coded messages, signposts on your life path, and how by patiently learning to decipher them, you can shift from being a passive spectator to a conscious and inspired co-creator of your own existence. I know, deep within me, what it's like to live with this particular sensitivity. This sometimes diffuse feeling, like a light mist, sometimes sharp and piercing like an arrow, that something, an invisible agency, is speaking to you through the very fabric of daily events. This constant impression, sometimes exhilarating, sometimes exhausting, of being a veritable emotional and energetic sponge, of picking up on subtle energies defectos in the air, of sensing the ambiance of a place or the unspoken words in a conversation before a single word is uttered, before social masks even fall. You possess this inner radar, don't you? This kind of hypervigilance of the soul that constantly scans the environment, seeking meaning, connections, perhaps warnings. And this same sensitivity, while a source of profound intuition, can sometimes, I know, lead you to saturation, to the diffuse anxiety of too muchness, to that existential fatigue that arises when you feel like you're carrying not only your own burdens, but also what overflows from the collective unconscious, the unsaid pains of the world. You may have known, and still know, these repetitive patterns, these life scenarios that seem to replay over and over, particularly in your relationships. Like a play whose script you can't manage to change, leaving you with a bitter taste of powerlessness, of frustration, as if an invisible force constantly brought you back to the same point of pain, to the same unsolved riddle. You may have felt desperately alone with these intense feelings, wondering if you were too something, too sensitive, too emotional, too complicated, perhaps even a bit weird. Let me tell you this, with all the conviction of my being, this heightened sensitivity, this permeability to the subtle world, is not a flaw nor a weakness. It is a prodigious strength, a royal gateway. It's your innate ability, often unconscious at first, to perceive the whispers of your soul, the discreet, but insistent signs that the universe or your own deep psyche sends you to guide you, to awaken you, to align you. And what if all of this, all these intimate, sometimes painful experiences, were not a sign of dysfunction, but on the contrary, proof that your psychic sensors are particularly sharp? What if this inner saturation, this feeling of being overwhelmed, was actually the cry of your soul begging you to listen, to finally hear a deeper message, an essential truth for your evolution? The great revelation, the shift in perception that can change everything, is this: your inner world, the totality of your thoughts, whether fleeting or obsessive, the infinite palette of your emotions, conscious and especially unconscious, the depths of your personal unconscious, with its hidden treasures and shadow zones, including that famous Jungian shadow, that part of you that you may have judged, denied, repressed deep down. All this inner universe actively, dynamically, shapes your outer reality. This is not an assertion of simplistic magical thinking or blissful optimism. It is a psychic and energetic dynamic of fascinating depth and complexity. Like a powerful magnet, you attract, through a phenomenon of vibrational resonance, events, circumstances, and people who vibrate at a fundamentally similar frequency to your dominant internal state. Synchronicities, from this perspective, are no longer random events, whims of fate that happen to you without rhyme or reason. They are reflections, mirrors held up by life itself, symbolic echoes that show you, sometimes gently, sometimes brutally, something essential about yourself, about your untapped potential or your wounds that demand healing. They are tangible lived proof that you are not a separate entity, isolated from the rest of the world, but that you are intimately, inextricably linked to it, engaged in a constant, silent, yet profoundly significant dialogue with the totality of existence. Jung, by speaking of synchronicity as this principle of causal connections, invites us to step out of our usual linear way of thinking. Imagine, to grasp the nuance, two or more events occurring almost simultaneously, or in close succession. Logically, rationally, there is no direct cause and effect link between them. Yet, for the one who observes them, who experiences them from within, their connection takes on a dazzling meaning, an intense, subjective significance, often numinous, meaning charged with an aura of sacredness, of mystery. You think intensely of a friend you haven't seen in years, feeling a pang of nostalgia or sudden concern, and the phone rings at that precise moment. It's them. You are grappling with a profound professional reassessment, wondering what new path to take, and upon opening a magazine at random in a waiting room, your eyes fall on an article describing with unsettling precision the field of activity you were secretly considering. These are not mere tricks of the mind, illusions of meaning. They are signs, winks from the universe. The universe, or more precisely your own deep psyche interacting with the vaster field of the collective unconscious, uses the timeless language of symbols, archetypes, and meaningful coincidences to communicate with you. It is a form of personalized guidance, a GPS for the soul, intended to orient you on your unique path of individuation, that sacred and often arduous process by which you are called to become fully, authentically, and entirely yourself, by integrating all facets of your being, including the darkest. How does this subtle dialogue operate in practice? Think of yourself, your entire being, as a musical instrument of unique complexity and beauty, capable of emitting its own vibrational frequency. This frequency, this personal energetic signature, is determined at every moment by the total and interactive sum of your thoughts, their quality, their emotional charge, your emotions, whether expressed, repressed, conscious or unconscious, your beliefs, limiting or empowering, your cellular memories, your as-yet unhealed soul wounds, but also, and this is crucial, your purest joys, your highest aspirations, the love you carry. Modern spirituality speaks extensively of the law of vibration or the law of attraction, but Jung, long before these terms became popular, was already addressing this dynamic through the prism of the psyche's creative and organizing power. What you constantly emit, This subtle radiance, this invisible aura that surrounds you, inevitably resonates with situations, people, and events that share a similar or complementary vibrational frequency. If your unconscious is heavily burdened with ancestral fears, unresolved guilt, or deeply ingrained beliefs such as "I don't deserve happiness" or "life is a constant struggle," which often constitutes the core of your personal shadow, you are highly likely, quite unintentionally, to attract or co-create experiences that will painfully confirm these internal patterns, until, by the grace of an awakening, you decide to free yourself from them. Very often, it is these projections of our inner world, our unconscious expectations, and our unresolved conflicts that we see materializing, as if by magic, in the theater of our outer life. This naturally leads us to an absolutely crucial notion, a true cornerstone of this new understanding: conscious co-creation and the responsibility that ensues. You are not, and you have never been, a mere passive puppet in the hands of a blind and arbitrary destiny. You are, by your very nature as a conscious and vibrant being, a co-creator of your reality. By learning to observe with sustained, non-judgmental attention the synchronicities that manifest in your life, by honestly and curiously questioning their intimate meaning for you, here and now, you begin to dismantle old victim patterns and reclaim the reins of your inner sovereignty. Responsibility in this context has nothing to do with crushing guilt. It's entirely my fault this catastrophe is happening to me. Rather, it is your ability to respond, responsibility, consciously and creatively to the challenges and opportunities life presents. Faced with a synchronistic event, the question becomes, what is my part in this? What is the hidden wisdom here for me? What is this event, pleasant or unpleasant, inviting me to understand, transform, heal, or celebrate within myself? By then, acting accordingly, not from a place of impulsive reaction, but from a space of inner alignment, you actively and joyfully participate in the manifestation of your life's events. It's a subtle and continuous dance between profound acceptance of what is, the stoic letting go, and the right inspired action that arises from that acceptance. But then, where do these very personal messages, these perfect alignments, come from? Jung, in his insatiable quest, postulated the existence of a collective unconscious. This is not just your repressed personal history, but a much vaster psychic substratum, a kind of universal memory shared by all humanity, a primordial field of information where the accumulated experiences of our ancestors, the great founding myths, and above all the archetypes reside. These archetypes, such as the hero, the sage, the mother, the shadow, the anima, the animus, are universal patterns of behavior, innate emotional and symbolic schemas that structure our perception of the world and influence our lives profoundly, often unbeknownst to us. Imagine the collective unconscious as a vast akashic library of the human soul, or better yet, as a primordial ocean of consciousness, of which we are all interconnected waves. Synchronicities would then be like patterns, particular configurations emerging from this ocean, books that suddenly open, attracted, and highlighted by the resonance of your own inner quest, your own activated psychic complexes. We can also visualize this fundamental interconnection with the powerful image of the flower of life, that sacred geometric symbol present in many ancient traditions where each circle representing an individual consciousness is intimately linked and interpenetrated by all others, illustrating the underlying unity of all things. Certain concepts from modern quantum physics like entanglement, where two particles that have interacted once remain mysteriously connected and influence each other instantaneously regardless of the distance separating them, even seem to echo on a different plane of reality this Jungian idea of a profoundly unified, interconnected and non-local reality. So, how can we learn to decipher these cryptic messages, to read this invisible score? Two primary tools, of inestimable value, are given to you at birth, even if they are often left undeveloped. Your intuition and your dreams. Intuition is that little inner voice, that direct and immediate knowing, that doesn't pass through the filter of rational logic. It's that deep feeling, that inexplicable certainty that pushes you in one direction or, conversely, strongly steers you away from it. It is your most reliable inner guide, your soul's compass. Learning to listen to it, to trust it, however, requires practice, inner silence, a certain detachment from the incessant noise of the analytical mind. It is a whisper to the soul that is cultivated in attentive presence, in listening to the body, in moments of stillness. Dreams, for Jung, were the royal road to the unconscious, the privileged theatre where our deep psyche expresses itself unvarnished, through a rich and abundant language of symbols. These dream symbols, often very personal, but also drawing from the reservoir of collective archetypes, can then manifest, as if by a play of mirrors, as synchronicities in your waking life, providing you with keys to understanding or confirmations. Keeping a dream journal, taking time to meditate on their images and moods, questioning their characters, can offer you major insights into your inner processes and the messages your unconscious is trying to convey. Let's add a third tool to this: conscious observation and mindful presence. This involves cultivating a state of openness and curiosity towards the outer world, while remaining connected to your inner landscape, ready to recognize the subtle bridges between the two. By understanding that synchronicities are not mere oddities, but manifestations of your intimate connection to a vaster consciousness, to this collective unconscious that links us all, you realize with wonder that you are never truly alone on your journey. Better still, you discover that you can actively influence the nature and frequency of these meaningful experiences. Not by trying to force or manipulate them through egoic willpower alone, which would be counterproductive, but by delicately adjusting your own inner frequency, your own vibrational signature. How? By courageously embarking on the path of inner alignment. This involves honestly clarifying your intentions and core values, healing past emotional wounds progressively and compassionately integrating your shadow, and deliberately cultivating high states of being, such as gratitude, unconditional love, simple joy, and peace of heart. The clearer, more coherent and harmonious your personal vibration becomes, the more synchronicities tend to manifest as joyful confirmations, clear and fluid guidance, and happy opportunities, rather than as strident alarm signals or painful confrontations. It is a gradual journey towards a form of self-mastery, not a rigid and fearful control, but an increasingly fluid and creative dance with the current of life. So, I invite you now to rethink in this new light those moments of chance that have marked your path. That feeling of being sometimes too sensitive, too raw. It's actually your innate ability, your precious gift, to pick up on these subtle signs, this informational energy that is constantly circulating. Those repetitive patterns that caused you so much saturation, exhaustion, and anxiety. They are, in truth, pressing invitations, sometimes desperate pleas from your soul, begging you to finally look at a part of yourself that has been ignored, repressed, an old wound that asks to be acknowledged, welcomed, and finally transmuted by the light of your loving consciousness. By embracing this Jungian and spiritual perspective with courage and openness, the benefits available to you are immense, transformative. You begin to discover a deep meaning, a coherent narrative thread, where you previously perceived only chaos, absurdity, and fragmentation. You find a source of inner peace and new serenity, knowing that even the most arduous challenges, the darkest trials, carry a message, an opportunity for growth and healing. You receive increasingly clear and reliable intuitive guidance to navigate the crossroads of your existence, to make decisions more aligned with who you truly are. You feel profoundly, viscerally connected, first to yourself, to your purest essence, but also to others in a more authentic way, and to the entire universe in its mysterious intelligence. You learn to transform your deepest wounds, your most feared shadow areas, not by eradicating them, but by integrating them, to make them unexpected sources of wisdom, compassion, and inner power. You no longer passively endure the events of your life, but you learn to navigate with confidence, to dance with the waves, to actively co-create your reality with rediscovered sovereignty and joy. Chance, as we usually conceive it, that cold arbitrariness, that void of meaning, that blind lottery, is, in large part, an illusion born of limited perception, of a consciousness that has not yet learned to read between the lines of reality. The reality, far vaster and far more magical, is that life, the universe, your own deep psyche, the collective unconscious, is constantly, at every moment, weaving a web of subtle meanings around you, and specifically for you. Synchronicities are the bright, visible threads of this magnificent tapestry, the embroidery stitches that reveal the hidden pattern of your existence. You are, never forget, a vibrational being by essence, a constant transmitter and receiver of frequencies, information, energies. And you are intimately, indissolubly connected to a vast ocean of consciousness, to a unified field of intelligence and love. You have always carried within you the innate tools to decipher these messages, to interpret this symphony. Your sharp intuition, the wisdom of your dreams, the infallible compass of your bodily and emotional feelings. So, here is my most sincere invitation, my call from the heart. Become, starting today, a more attentive observer, a detective of the sacred in everyday life. Open wide the eyes of your soul, not just those of your body. When a coincidence strikes you, surprises you, calls to you, don't just brush it aside with a distracted wave of your hand, labeling it mere chance. Give it a moment. Pause. Breathe. Fully feel what is happening within you. What emotion emerges? What thought, memory, or intuition accompanies it? What could this event, however trivial it may seem, mean for you personally, here and now, in the current context of your life? Trust more and more in that inner whisper, that subtle guidance, even if, and especially if, it seems illogical, irrational, or if it goes against the expectations of those around you or the dictates of society. I would deeply love to read and share your experience. Please feel free to share in the comments a synchronicity that has particularly marked you in your life, or a feeling, an insight that this exploration we've just undertaken together may have awakened in you. What resonates most strongly? What door does it open within you? And if you feel called, if you are ready to continue this fascinating and transformative journey into the depths of the human psyche, into the mysteries of existence and the infinite potentials of your own consciousness, then subscribe so you don't miss our future explorations. Share this revelation, this light, with those who, like you, are ardently seeking meaning, healing, presence, and truth. Always remember this like a precious mantra. The universe never conspires against you. It tirelessly dances with you, for you. Every sign, every encounter, every synchronicity is a subtle invitation to learn a new step in this cosmic dance, to harmonize yourself more with the rhythm of your own soul. By opening yourself with confidence and curiosity to this sacred dance, by learning to listen with your entire being to the unique and subtle melody emanating from the depths of your heart, you will discover with ever-renewed wonder that you are the key, the right note, the composer and the performer of your own magnificent symphony. Chance does not exist. Only the infinitely meaningful and loving fabric of your life exists, patiently waiting, with infinite benevolence, to be read, understood, fully lived, and profoundly loved.